Happy Star Trek Day, and as a special treat, they sent us down 2 episodes, not just one, of Star Trek Lower Decks. We'll talk about them right after this. Hello out there, I'm the oldest nerd, and the first episode is called Tuvix, and this harkens back to the episode of the same name in Voyager, where Neelix and Tuvok are in a transporter accident. They get in with some kind of orchid, and it combines their patterns until they create a completely different life form. And the thing that's been discussed in fan circles, of course, is their solution to it was just to kill Tuvix in order for Neelix and Tuvok to come back. And the ethics of killing a new life form to save two is something that's been debated quite a lot. And so they do it for laughs here as Billups and Tiana accidentally are combined into a transporter. Now, the main plot has them escorting the Voyager, which is now a museum ship, back to Earth to be placed in orbit for a museum piece. And they are taking things off of the Voyager and then also accompanying it on its final voyage. And then that's when everything just starts going sideways. We know at the very beginning that Boimler is up for promotion, and as long as he doesn't screw up anything too badly, he'll be promoted. And of course, this is just the ripest territory for everything to go wrong. And in doing so, they use virtually every trope that Voyager did. Every virus, every odd thing to happen with the neural circuitry, every engineering problem, their holodeck that seems to go all the way through the ship when they want it to. Some of the holodeck stories that they had manifest themselves across the ship, and it wreaks havoc. And we won't go into any more detail about it, except that, of course, everything was okay at the end. But there was a twist at the end. After this whole situation was resolved, we then cut to a Klingon ship. And the thing and we won't give away what happens on the Klingon ship, but what we will give away is that the first Klingon that we hear is the voice of Andy Richter. Now, Andy Richter was, he's done several TV series of his own. He's a comedy writer and has been best known as Conan O'Brien's sidekick on his original late night show, his NBC version, his Tonight Show variation, and his TBS program, Conan. So Andy Richter was the voice there. It's not unusual for him or Conan to do voice actor work. They have done so for some games. Anyway, I thought that was kind of interesting. Second episode is called I Have No Bones Yet I Shall Flee, in which Mariner and Ransom and a new ensign are going to a museum space station, which in collecting its artifacts accidentally scooped up a couple of humans. The proprietor of this finds it difficult to tell humans from other species, so when he discovered he had them, he notified Starfleet, and the Cerritos was sent to retrieve them. And there are jokes throughout as to menageries and zoos and things like this, and various creatures we may or may not have seen before, and of course, mayhem comes about, and of course, Mariner is in her most obnoxious state, as she tends to be whenever she thinks that somebody's going to be taking advantage of her in one way or the other, or doing something that she thinks is not worthy of her, and then she tries to see if she can't pull all the strings, and that's done with Ransom. And why he's not reacting to her is an interesting plot point here. But also in this, we have a scene with the Romulans right at the beginning that is very much the same situation that the Klingons were in at the end of the first episode, which leads me to believe that this is going to be an arc of this entire season, that there is going to be various alien ships that are going to be contacted. We've seen the Klingons, we've seen the Romulans. I imagine we'll see an Andorian, perhaps Vulcans, who knows. Oh, by the way, there is a new Vulcan character, T'Lyn. She was featured on one of the earlier shows as Lower Decks on another show, on a Vulcan ship, and she was transferred over, I think at the end of last series, to the Cerritos. And so they're playing a little bit with some of the Vulcan mannerisms and tendencies. And T'Lyn is featured in both of these episodes. We'll probably see more of her as well. So that's what we have on here. The show is still funny. It's not absolutely fall on the floor hilarious, but it's certainly one of these things that you'll want to watch several times to catch all of the nuance, and there is just tons of nuance in both of these episodes that harken back to previous episodes. The second episode, as the B plot, is Boimler going from, he's been promoted, he goes to new quarters, and they find that not all quarters are as desirable as others. He's not in a bunk in the hall anymore, but he was in next to a nacelle that was very brightly shining into the room, similar to being in a hotel room next to a neon sign, and other things like this. And so there's some fun done there. So that's what we have for you today. We hope that you enjoyed it. We hope you enjoy Star Trek Day that is today. If you happen to tune in to Paramount Plus, they are doing clips and outtakes and things from all of the series, and they'll be doing that this entire day. So until until Tuesday, when we'll have another Deep Space Nine retro review, followed by a Wednesday original series retro review, and then another Babylon 5 coming Friday, and presumably episode 3 of season 4 of Lower Decks. That's all coming up. Don't go far.